Hello, everybody. Welcome to our first podcast for Deblias, and we don't have an official name yet. So if you have any suggestions, let us know.
Throw them our way. We're gonna try to brainstorm a bit.
Yeah, but we would love to hear what you guys think. So our first podcast is gonna be like retail rants because boy, do we have stories, and I know my mom has stories too. And I know some of them, but customers, man, what are you gonna do?
Retail is a crazy place. It's a whole other world out there.
Yeah, I feel like people should be required to work some retail, just so they treat other retail people nice.
Oh yeah.
So, me and Ashley, we work at the same place. We work at a shoe store, at an outlet, so that's an outdoor mall for those who...
Well, not all outlet malls are outdoor. Just ours happens to be. Basically, if you don't know what an outlet mall is, because I didn't know what an outlet was until I started working there, it's basically a store of a chain that has discounted or lower priced product. That's basically later season, not as new.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what an outlet is.
Yeah, and you can bring your dogs, walk them around, because most stores allow them in, and things.
This is our store specifically because it's an outdoor mall.
Yeah, but ours, it has like a dog crossed out if they don't want the dog in there, but if there is no dog crossed out, then you can come in with your dog.
Yeah.
But anyways, so we'll start. What's the first one, like the first customer problem that you can remember? So we've worked at our shoe store for quite a few years.
I'm nearing 3 years.
Yeah.
It's 3 years for me in April.
Yeah. And I worked just a little bit before Ashley because I trained her when she came in. There he goes.
That was a dog, if you were wondering.
He's going to go lay down on the couch.
He's going to go chill.
Or come... Oh!
If you heard that thud, he just smacked
Are
his
you
head.
okay?
What you got?
The calm. He's going to hit the mic.
No, good, I know. There's not much room for you. Do you want to tell us about... You've been to the mall. What's your experience like?
People touching him without asking.
Yeah, that...
Okay, we'll separate rant.
We will
all
do
together.
an animal-themed podcast, and that... Oh boy, the stories we could tell with that.
Oh my god, Ashley has witnessed it. Ashley was our bodyguard at one point when she's out with me and our dogs.
It's awful.
It's truly awful.
Anyways...
Second episode, maybe.
So, yeah, the first experience that I can remember, it was probably my worst ever retail experience.
Yeah, I know where you're going with
it. Yeah. So, it was probably, I'd been there maybe 3 weeks max. I think it was probably about 2 or 3 weeks in. So, I was ringing out a customer. Or no, first it started out that, I was helping her because she was asking how much a shoe cost. So I was telling her, no, actually that's not what it was. So she was counting up. So we have a rewards program that has this punch card, and once you reach a certain amount, you get a certain amount off your purchase. And so I was helping her count up those, showing her on the calculator. So she borrowed our calculator and brought it over to one of our four-ways, which is a shelf display, and was counting on it. And then later on, when she came up to check out, she brought her shoes up, and I was like, oh, do you have our calculator? Because she had taken off with it. I went to another area with it. And she was like, no, I don't. And I was like, are you sure? I saw that you had it. Do you have it? And it's it didn't get swapped into anywhere or anything. And she was like, nope. And I just wanted to make sure, because I knew she was going through her stuff, that I didn't accidentally fall into one of her bags or anything. And I think I asked her just so it didn't get into anything. She was like, no. So I was like, okay. And then as I was moving on to finish ringing her out, she all of a sudden got really, really mad at me. And she started screaming and accusing me of being racist, because I think she was a Latina woman. So considering everything in the world, I can understand where she was thinking that I might have been accusing her of profiling or whatever. That was not the case. I only asked her because I knew that she had taken off with it. I just didn't want to get lost. It's a cheap little calculator, so even if it did go vanish, it wouldn't have been a big deal.
But we do need that because we use it a lot.
Yeah, but anyway, she started screaming at me. I think she started dumping out her purse or whatever, and was like, "Do you want to look through here? You're accusing me of that.
Do you want me to get naked?"
Yeah, and we're assuming just like to like search their clothes, and I think she came over and she was like, "No, please, no."
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I went, no, do not.
And meanwhile, this whole time, my anxiety kicked in. I basically blacked out, and I just shut down. So I was just there like. Meanwhile, I was just getting screamed at by this woman, and then she threw everything down. She stormed out and left, and then Michaela went over to the floor where she was, and she was like. Right here, because she had left it over there, so it was like she couldn't just bother to say that she left it over there.
Yeah, I know.
And so yeah, and then the customers behind me luckily were like super understanding because they had seen like the whole thing go down, and they were like, woo. So they were like, take your time, you got this. So I reined them out, and then I went on break after that because I was just like, oh my god. I'm gonna just jump on another story that this reminds me of. I don't remember if this was with our assistant manager. She's about like our age, a couple of years older than us. And she had a customer. I can't remember exactly, but basically I think she said she wouldn't do a certain discount or something because it couldn't be applied.
Yeah, so real quick, with being an outlet, you can't really combine coupons with a deal because it's already a really good deal, right? And because of that, we can't lose more money by giving you more coupons. The only coupon that we'll allow to use is loyalty on top of anything. And when we usually tell customers when they come in with coupons, it's usually for online or for like a retail price. And they have fits. A lot of them will have a meltdown because we can't honor a coupon.
And this is just all people in general.
Yeah,
we're not,
this
like,
is literally anybody.
And this is like obviously
think of Karens. For when it comes to the coupon situation, you gotta think of the Karens because the meltdowns,
People have conniptions.
And then they'll storm out.
I mean, and again, this pertains mainly to our store rather than like others.
Yes.
Like some they might work, but for us, a lot of the times you can't combine coupons. But anyways, going back to that, he got really mad, basically threw the shoes at her. Like he slid them like off the counter at her.
Yeah.
And I don't remember if she got hit with them or
He
not.
called her a bitch.
Yeah, he called her name.
Because we'll get.
And then he stormed out.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just awful.
I wouldn't say her name.
Yeah, I know. That's why I stopped.
We'll leave that.
That's why I stopped. But yeah, basically, I'm pretty sure it's because she gets pretty firm, which is good because she has to be.
Yeah, she gets like very blunt with people, very straight up, which is good. And people need to learn how to take it. So if there's somebody who can't handle it.
But what happened was, if I'm recalling it properly, she was trying to explain something to him. Okay, I think it was most likely the loyalty. And she explained it 4 times very nicely, and then she went, I do not understand what you are not getting. Because it's very simple. You spend an amount, then you get a certain amount. Type of thing. And she's like, I really do not understand, because I went up there to see if I could help her explain. Even though I would have to explain the same way. And she's like, she literally went, I do not understand what you're not getting. Which is fair, because the amount of times she's had to explain it is a lot. Is a lot. And she was getting frustrated, he was getting frustrated, so he shoved the shoes at her, called her a bitch, walked out. She called security because you cannot just throw shoes at somebody. I get that you're frustrated, I get that she's frustrated, but it was just awful. And security got him because he was still having a problem walking down. He was being just like awful.
Oh yeah, he was like yelling down the whole mall.
Yeah. So security got him, and I think he was banished for a day.
Yeah, something like that. Like he was banned for the day.
Yeah. But yeah, then there was one time that I recall. So it was another man, and this employee doesn't work there anymore. But I don't know if Ashley was there yet. You're looking right into the camera. Yes, thank you. Kisses. Kisses. Oh, hit the mic.
Mine, sir. You have some water.
He was laying down. But his brothers and sisters started barking, so he got up. He's gonna join our podcast. So anyways, what happens was he gave her cash for a thing, And our register, I'm not sure if all of them do it because I haven't worked at many places, but our register would tell you the exact amount you have to give them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no math required on your part, and the register just opens and give it to him. So she gave it to him, and then he goes, you didn't give me the correct amount. You owe me more. And he'd be like, listen, we put it into the computer, so the amount that it says is correct. Like, that is, like, if the computer says what it is, we have to go by the computer. Because the computer has all of our stuff in there, and we know.
Mm-hmm.
And he kept, like, yelling at her that she owed him more money, which I'm not sure in the end if she was right or he was right, because, well, I don't know, I don't count the registers. It's none of my business. But, so I think, so she just started crying, and this guy was just yelling at her about that she owed him more money, and I'm pretty sure he was wrong. I want to say, because I've heard, I don't think it's happened much at our store, but I've heard that people will, like, when you give them cash, sometimes they try to confuse you. No, this goes for anybody. They'll try to confuse you by giving you, like, cards, cash, more cards, and so then when you would go to the cash register, they could yell and say you didn't give them the correct amount back just because they want more money back. But anyways, I don't know if she was right or wrong, but I just remember her just crying in the back because this guy was awful to her, just really awful. And if he just gave her a moment to breathe, we could have just counted the register, see if it was short, or see if we had too much.
Mm-hmm.
Because that register would have told you how much, but he was just, it was awful. It was really awful. So a few, now in Thanksgiving, like Black Friday, people get really mean
I hate Black
and
Friday.
awful. And there is this one time, I was new, I was a baby, I was not trained yet, because I was only supposed to be seasonal help, just to make sure no one steals any shoes. So I didn't really know what was going on. I don't know what shoes we had. I don't know what shoes we didn't have. And what happened was on Black Friday, especially before COVID, it's just a mess. Purely a mess. You're running around, your store is way over capacity. People are like, I want this, I want that, and you're like, I can't leave, like I need to watch. And that one day, there was I can't remember if it was Black Friday or Thanksgiving, and having to work Thanksgiving is awful because I had to work till 3 a.m. and then I would come back for 12. And you can't even park close. You have to park far away and be bussed in, which to me is ridiculous. Like, you have to be bussed in because of all these people. That's technically, it's not even a good sale, because we'll do our good sale beforehand. I mean, it's still not a bad sale, but we'll have a better sale beforehand. Or the sale that we're going to have on Black Friday is already going, and has been going for a week or two.
Mm-hmm.
To prevent, we just want to prevent people from rushing in. And this lady, it was like a family, and this family was trying to help the mom find a shoe. And instead of like putting the shoe back, it was like a huge pile of like one shoe out of a box. Well, it was more than one shoe, but it was like they took one shoe to try it on and just threw it on the floor.
And that happens year round. That's not
Yeah.
even just on Black Friday. Like, we'll go.
But
go
it was
down an aisle.
specifically bad that one day because
Yeah.
we could not find the mates, so we had to take these huge boxes that we have and threw them all in there because we didn't have time to clean it up or find them, because it was just from like every single size, and it was the worst mess I've ever seen. I have not seen any mess worse than that. And they just threw them on the floor, left the boxes, and some boxes were pulled out but empty, and it was just, I just can't remember a worse mess than that.
Yeah, Black Friday gets awful, but like that whole like mess thing is not exclusive to Black Friday.
No,
like,
but that was
people,
just specifically on that
I'm going on
day.
some different stories. People will just like leave, like you'll walk down an aisle and it's just a trail of shoes all over. Or people will take a shoe and instead of putting it back in the box,
Yeah.
they'll put it on top of another shoe right next to it,
Yep.
or right above it, or on the opposite side of the store,
Yeah.
which is also constant
'Cause-
and really annoying.
For those who haven't worked at a shoe store, you have to keep the shoes flipped. You have to touch every single shoe to make sure they're a certain way. So that way, when you're flipping, you'll know if something's wrong, because if they don't flip correctly, then one could be a different size, because some people will try on the same shoe different sizes and not put them back correctly. So when you're flipping, it helps you know if there's something wrong with the shoe, or if there is a missing shoe or a stolen shoe, because some people will, when they're stealing, will take 2 pairs, right, and they'll put, they'll take 1 pair, put one in one box, one in the other, so you think the mate is just missing, but when you figure it out, that shoe has been stolen because they just will mix them all around.
Oh yeah, shoes get stolen all the time. People walk out with their shoes on their feet, think they won't get noticed.
It's hard to say sometimes, though. People walk in with Clark's, with shoes on.
Sometimes you know, though, because they're very worn. We've had people come in and steal the exact same shoes they're wearing. So they're wearing one style of shoe that's like really like old and worn. They'll come in, swap it out for the same exact shoe, and leave with the new one, and leave their nasty shoes in the box.
And sometimes they're going to steal if they're mean to you, because if people are mean to you, you tend to avoid them.
Or excessively nice. We had this one woman come in. This wasn't too long ago, I don't think. She came in, she greeted us all. She was like, "Hey everybody," super happy, super bubbly, super nice. I don't remember if people helped her or not, but she came in wearing 1 pair of shoes, and then at checkout, our assistant manager noticed that she had on a pair of our shoes that was like new, and she was like, "Oh, are those you're wearing?" And she was
We're
like,
gonna have to bleep that out.
"Oh yeah." Is that our company here? And she was like, "Oh yeah, I love your shoes. I wear them all the time." And then from that, because she knew that she was on tour, she went over and started freaking out because there was an issue with her card where it didn't ring up correctly, or it would only like accept like a certain amount.
Yeah,
so she was
that's also another sign. Like, oh, it only accepted 99 cents.
Yeah, so she was like freaking out and having issues. She was like, "Oh, I need to go and get like another card or change or whatever." So she left and she never came back. And then we found an empty box for the shoes that she left the store in. So then, yeah, I think our assistant manager reported her to security to be like, "Look out for this woman wearing your stolen shoes."
Yeah, there was this one time this lady obviously was trying to steal, but I didn't know at the time because I was still a baby. And I went up to her and I was like, "Can I help you find anything?" And she screamed because I scared her. I don't know if I actually scared her or if she was so focused on, this is the one that I'm going to steal, and I just surprised her. She was like, and I smiled at her, trying to diffuse the situation. She's like, "It's not funny." And then she and she was just awful. So I obviously stayed cleared of her, and then it turns out she stole shoes. Because obviously, why would I go try to help somebody that was mean to me? Because I was like, wow, I didn't mean to scare you, but obviously it makes sense now. She was so hyper focused on like, this is what I need to do.
Like an excuse to like be mean to you,
that
so
too.
You would leave her alone.
That too, but people, man, are just...
Also, something I don't understand about people is they'll be like looking in like size 10 and looking at shoes, and they'll be like, "Do you have this in a size 7?"
And
it's like, go look in the 7s. Why are you in like 4 sizes of like?
Oh my god! Another sign of people wanting to steal is, okay, so they'll come in a group, and we don't always have a lot of people working because you don't technically need it, right?
No, we have a pretty small store.
So what will happen is they'll be like, "Do you have this shoe and this?" And while you're off looking for that shoe, here's 3 other shoes I want you to look for. So they're making you run around the store looking for shoes, but while you're doing that, because you're not washing them, they're stealing. So they're like, "I want this shoe in a 7, 9.5, and a 12. So that's going to take some time to look because we have a lot of places to look. We have a lot of shoes.
There are thousands of shoes in our store.
So, yeah, that's another sign. And, oh my god, so customers have only gotten more on my nerves since the pandemic. So our store specifically requires that you wear a mask or a scarf. Something, you just gotta cover your face.
Not even a scarf, a mask. Scarves, they have holes, they
don't work, but they're accepted.
No, they're accepted, but sure, they technically no. But we have so many people coming in here. They pulled the "I have a medical condition."
I haven't had that one.
I've had that a few times where like you have a mask and they're like, "I have a medical condition," and we can't say anything.
So that reminds me. So for those who don't know, I have asthma. It's pretty bad most days. A lot of days it's controllable and I'm fine. But I used to be in and out of the hospital when I was younger because of it. And this lady, she had her mask. So people are like, "I'm hot." And you're like, then why are you shoe shopping, ma'am? I didn't ask you to come out and buy my shoes. People are like getting red in the face. I'm like, ma'am, I have to keep this mask on my whole 8 hours that I'm here and I'm serving you and I'm going up and down ladders. I'm running around trying to find shoes. So I'm sure you can keep your mask on for 20 minutes
while you sit there.
While you sit there trying on shoes. But this lady, she had the mask off, and I went up to her. I was like, can you keep your mask on, please? And she did. And she gave me like a little attitude side roll or whatever. And then she came up to the counter, and I ended up having to be the one to check her out. And I was just checking her out. She goes, I have asthma, you know. And I went, yeah, me too. And she's like, so if I pass out, that's on you. And I'm like, I don't understand what I have never had.
You can't fit.
You can't fit on here.
I don't even know where my phone went. Oh, it's right here.
And I went, okay, like, what do you want me to say? You have asthma? You want a pass? I have asthma. Asthma is not a medical condition which does not require you to wear a mask. If anything, it should make you want to wear 3 masks because COVID is a respiratory disease. Asthma is a respiratory disease. I can't imagine how well that would go if you got COVID, which scares me.
It's like as people say, if you have a medical condition that's so bad you can't even wear a mask, and imagine how that medical condition is going to react if you get COVID.
Yeah.
So.
It's bullcrap because my mom in her store says people have come in and said they have asthma, and then she'll go, my daughter works next door and she has asthma and she wears it for 8 hours. We worked at a Halloween attraction outside and we were running up and down things and we wore masks the whole time.
We were usually wearing 2 masks. We had like our face like cloth masks.
Yeah.
As well as like a plastic like costume mask.
Yeah. So, and we were running around for hours scaring people with that on. So let me just say, yes, you can wear your mask for 20 minutes while you are in my store. Because I've also had people come over with drinks and go, I just want to sip. I'm like, well, you take that outside. Because people will pull down their things and just start drinking. In general, you're not allowed to drink in our shoe store because we don't need you spilling.
One time I had a little girl just eating a full box of Chinese food back and just on our seat.
Yeah, and there was one lady just eating an apple, and I was like, could you not? Because you're spitting more while you're eating.
I don't think I said anything because I think she needed it because the girl was diabetic, so I think she needed food. Mm-hmm. So that's why I didn't say anything.
But still, you can take that outside. There's benches. Yeah. You can't. You're coming into my store, and you're doing this, and it's annoying. And the amount of attitude I get, be like, no one asked you to come out here today to shop. If you don't like the rules, then wait till the pandemic is over and it's not required to wear a mask anymore.
I do have to say, one thing that I kind of find is like a positive or like a little blessing in disguise with COVID is the capacity limits.
Oh yes,
because
that's nice.
Beforehand, especially like on Black Friday, our store was like overwhelming. Like I'm the type of person where like I don't do well in like really big crowds. I get very claustrophobic. I get like really anxious. I don't like being in like a huge like tight thing of people with nowhere to go. And it's like having that capacity limit just makes it so much easier and like
but
like a certain amount.
Gives people more attitudes because if you go, I need you to wait outside and it's cold, right? It's New England, so they have to wait outside in this weather and it's cold out, and I'm like, I need you
to an outdoor mall.
Oh yeah, what do you? They're like, and I got people go, well, you just lost my business, then. And you're like, all right, then why are you here? Because everyone has lines. If our shoe store has a line, then every other store has a line.
It's like basically moral story. Just please be patient. You might be frustrated. Imagine how frustrated people are. And we're lucky we're not working in food service or healthcare. Like those people probably have it so much worse than we do.
It is, but it's frustrating. It's tiring when you have to work for 8 hours reminding people to wear the mask properly.
There are people
because
working
they wear
over 8 hours that have to deal with it all.
There's customers where I go, can you wear your mask? They'll put it on. Then if I'm walking by them again, they have it off, and they see me looking at them, they put it back on. I'm like, you need to keep it on at all times, not just when I'm looking at you. Mm-hmm. There's other customers in the store that you need to think of.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's in the air. You're letting it out into the air. It's gonna be there. Mm-hmm. The same with like, if it's not covering your nose, it's not working. Like, people always like to, this can turn into a COVID rant, but
it's still customer problems, and listen, we're required to, you're required to. It's not what we're saying, it's what the company is saying that you have to
But
do.
the whole thing where people argue, like, clearly you can see the masks aren't working. It's because so many people aren't wearing them or wearing them properly. So how can they work
Oh
if
my
they
God.
aren't even being used?
I hate it when people wear above, like, below their nose. I'm like, what's the point? You might as well not freaking wear one.
My dad works in a grocery store, and he gets so many people in there not wearing masks or not wearing it properly, not giving 6 feet, going right up on him and everything.
Be
It's just like,
respectful.
especially in a food store, the one place where everybody has to go.
Yeah.
And where, like, people are going to be consuming that. Everybody touches everything. So it's like
Because going out is a choice.
common sense.
Unless it comes to food. But it's just, people are just so awful. It's so tiring. Mentally, it makes you so tired. Like, physically, your body could keep going, but, like, do you want to keep reminding everyone that steps into your store to wear a mask? No, because every time I've done it, I've gotten attitude or I've gotten yelled at. And I just can't, I can't take it because someone was just, in the front of a store just drinking. I'm like, could you not do that? Because even before the pandemic, technically you're not allowed to eat or drink in our store because we don't want that getting onto our shoes because we have people spilled stuff before and it splash up onto the boxes.
Our shoes are all, like, they're leather,
Yeah.
so they're very easy to damage. That's another thing. So let's step away from, like, the COVID thing. I have another story that I can tell, but, like, I'll save that for later if we end up back on this track. But, so our shoes are leather, and if it's a real leather shoe, it scratches very easily. And once it's scratched or creased, you can't undo that.
Mm-hmm.
And so people will, like, something people will do is that they'll, like, take, like, a key or their nail and intentionally scratch the shoe. Well, first of all, to see if it's real leather instead of looking at the tag or asking us. And then, second of all, to see if they could get a discount.
Yeah, they'll go, do you have
because it's
another
damaged.
one? No, you don't. Can I get another discount then, even though the shoe is pretty cheap already? And you go,
People
why are
ask-
you doing that?
And then it's like, then they don't want to do it. And guess what? Now that shoe is damaged for other people.
Yeah.
And it's just...
Yeah, it's awful.
something
There's
else.
just people, so because it's real leather and it's easy to scratch, the shoes can scratch each other with the heels, right? Because the heels are sharp. So when we get people coming in and looking at shoes, they throw shoes around everywhere. So,
Literally throw them.
and the way sometimes they'll shove them back into the box, they'll just scratch each other because people are just not nice to them. And there was this one time that when I was, fixing a display and I was looking at the shoes, someone carved fuck right into the leather. And we were trying to, like, clean it off. Because, what better other thing do you have than to write carved fuck into a leather shoe? Like grow up. Grow up. It's a product. People want it. And if we can't give it to people, some people get mad. You're like, oh, you don't have the shoe? And you're like, we have what we have.
And if you're going to damage their shoes to the point that they're unsellable, that's essentially stealing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like...
I don't know. People
buy it.
are just so awful. My favorite is, there is this one time, so our store does not allow online returns or retail returns. That may have changed at this point, I'm not sure.
As far as I'm aware, it's still the same because, like, retail's different now because it's full price, different prices, different shoes, different styles, so we just can't accept those anymore.
Yeah, because, like, our store will lose the money for it because it's expensive. So this one lady comes in with an online return. We explain it to her. She goes, well, how long has that been? And be like, for as long as I worked here since, like, 3 years. It's been implemented for, like, a very long time. Be like, it didn't change recently or anything like that. So what they did was, right then and there, even though both managers said no, they called customer service right in front of us. And they were talking customer service and they went, customer service says you can do it. I'd be like, technically we can, but we shouldn't because we can't.
We're not supposed to.
And so then our manager was forced to do it because they were talking to customer service and they talked to customer service until the transactions went done because they went, yep, they just did it, thank you, bye. Like, the customer is not always right. And I hate that slogan, the customer is always right. No, because we will admit if we're wrong. Because we understand that we're not always correct either. There's times when we're wrong, but most of the time, 90% of the time, the customer is wrong.
Yeah, it's like, ma'am, you think you're right? Do you work here? Do you know every single store policy? do you know the exact price? Do you know this? No, then you're not right.
My favorite's like, I really like this shoe. Can I have a new one? And you're like, there's no such thing as a new shoe. Not in an outlet, because we get shoes like from the retailers from the warehouse.
So this is like a secret. We tell people this.
Yeah, people know this.
When people ask for new shoes, again, because it could just be mainly because we're an outlet. It might not be the same with like stores that are like retail or new.
No, they'll get like new stuff.
But like our stuff, people ask for new shoes or shoes from the back because they don't think they've been worn. But really, like, there's no guarantee because
I can't tell you what's new and what's not new half the time.
Our shoes have been sent to us from other stores after they're not being sold anymore, so they've probably been tried on. Even when we get them from the warehouse, sometimes they're sent from stores back to the warehouse, who sends them back to us. So again, potential to be worn. And sometimes, just the way that we have to change displays and swap shoes around and change the stock, change the shelves, shoes that have been worn already get put in the back. So it's like, we can never guarantee that you're getting an untouched shoe. So
not saying that we never have new stuff, but most of the time it's not. And it'd be like, you wouldn't want a new shoe if you were nice to the shoes when you were trying them on, instead of throwing them all over the place. It's obnoxious. And then, now this is not the kids' fault, this is the parents' fault. We have kids full-blown running the aisles.
Oh my god, it is a jungle gym to children's store. I don't know why, I never see them.
There was one time this kid tripped and hit their head on the shelf and was bleeding. They'd be like, don't run in the store. And sometimes I get scared when I have to tell kids not to run in the store because I'm scared the parent's going to come and yell at me because I talk to their kid. Because that's just the type of society that we live in now. Like, you just can't even look at a kid. But, God, it's just... Kids just are running, and parents don't even yell at them, and they're just running up and down the aisles full blown, and I'm just like...
I never see kids running in the other stores around us because, like, we're across from other stores, so we can see around us. They're never running ours. It's just our store. I don't know if it's because parents are distracted, so they can go off and run and do whatever, and parents don't have to focus on them, or if it's because, like...
Bruh, good luck getting up on this couch.
Or if they think, like, oh, there's aisles, we can hide. We can play hide and seek, which is what they usually do. They run the aisles and try to catch each other, like, jump out at each other from behind it. But, like, we're also, like, sometimes we're carrying massive, like, 30-pound boxes or, like, stacks and stacks of shoes in our hands. Like, I'll be carrying, like, 6 pairs of shoes at a time. Kids will, like, run into us, and I'm just like, you're gonna get these dropped on your head.
Oh, my God. There's also customers that, you know, we're open for, like, a lot of hours. Less now because of COVID.
A lot less.
But
we're essentially laid off right now.
But for a lot of hours. But customers like to stay in after close, and we can't kick them out.
They come in, like, 3 minutes before close, and they're like, we still have time to shop.
Yeah, they're like, oh my God, we still have time to shop. Do you have this shoe? And it's like, your shift is technically over, but you're here serving them, waiting for them to go. And they go, I'm so sorry. I'm like, you're not sorry because you're still here.
If you do this and you say you're sorry, you're not sorry. Because if you were sorry, you wouldn't do that.
No, it's not like we're an essential grocery store. You're like, I'm so sorry, like, my kid really needs this. We're a shoe store. We've been open for like 12 hours. Where have you been all day that you are now here during close? And shoe stores take at least 20 minutes because you got to try on and you got to cash out. So at least 20 minutes it's going to take for you to get a shoe. That's about the average.
There are sometimes people who do come in and they, like, know what they want and they're literally in and out, but those are far.
Yeah. These people are like, so you already have the whole store clean, you flipped every shoe, you filled everything, you're like, I'm feeling good. You're like, we lock up for 2 minutes, someone comes in like, are you still open? We go for 2 minutes, they're like, okay, I'm just gonna go on, and they're like, they're trying on all these shoes, they're making a mess.
After we just cleaned the store too.
And they're making a mess, and they're like, do you have this shoe? And you're just looking at them, you're like, technically, I'm not working right now.
Yeah, I'm clocked in, but I shouldn't be.
I shouldn't be, and I'm here serving you for like 45 minutes after the mall's closed. I want to go home and I want to eat because it's weird hours, and by the time you get home it's sometimes really late, especially when you especially like when we used to close at 9. Don't go home till 10. I will be amazed if he gets up here.
Now I feel like, so this podcast has been kind of angry. You've been going on like angry rants.
It's true. I need to get it out. People,
how about we what are some good experiences that you've had in retail?
I don't know.
I know the bad usually outweighs the good.
Yeah. I mean, there's a few times when So there'll be times when customers go, "What's your name?" And I get really, really, really scared. And I go, sometimes I'm like, maybe I should just say Ashley so I'm not the one that gets in trouble.
Wow.
I never do. And I go, Michaela. And they're like, cool, thank you so much for helping me, Michaela. It's really nice. So the only time people have asked for my name is because they want to tell my manager that it was great. So there you go. That's some good things. They'll go up to they usually, we're going to have to bleep out her name because I said it. But they'll go up to the manager and be like, she's so good. I really love her. So I've had a few of those. And like my manager goes, oh, I know she's good. And she's like real proud of herself for like hiring me.
I raised that.
But like, yeah, see that one? Trained her myself.
Yeah. I don't know if people ever say good things about me. I feel like I'm good with customer service, but I never get told when people like are so thankful for me.
What's funny is I never check out the people that actually like me. I only end up checking out the people that are mad at me. But yeah, so I've had a few of those, and I've had a few thank yous. But that's usually when we're not busy and I have time to help the customer find something that they need. Because sometimes if we're busy, we can't give our full undivided attention that some people need, because we do have different like styles and different comfort levels, and it can get a little confusing, but it's hard.
I know one good experience I have. Well, this is kind of like two. So it's very multicultural. The people that we get people from all different backgrounds, because we also like we're right by like the border of Mass. So like we get a lot of like Hispanic and Latino people. We have a lot of Indian people. Basically every kind of like ethnicity that you can think of. But like we really get a lot of Spanish speaking people. And I had this older couple come in once. It was in the winter. It was close to Christmas. And so like I know a little bit of Spanish because I took it in high school, and actually recently I've been like using like a language app to like try and brush up on it so I can like use it even better in the store to try to communicate with people. But like I was able to use like what little I knew to help try and communicate with them, and they were just so like thankful and pleased that like I was like, even though my Spanish wasn't good, I was still like putting in the effort to like talk to them. And then I think I told them
yeah, please don't get up.
I told them like Merry Christmas as they were leaving in Spanish, which is like Feliz Navidad. And as they were leaving, the man just looks at me, like smiles at me. He's like, good Spanish. And it was just really nice. And I had a similar experience.
Those people tend to be the nicest because you're trying to. Because I've had a few people who I've had to use like Google Translate with, and they're usually the nicest customers that we get, because they understand that you're trying and you understand that they're trying, and it's usually very pleasant to work with those people.
Like one time, because I took some American Sign Language one semester in college, I've unfortunately lost a lot of it because I didn't get the chance to like really like keep up with it, and it was just like a hard one for me to learn. But we had a couple of ladies come in who were deaf and like using sign language, so I was able to like try and use like a tiny little bit. I basically do like 7.5 and like sorry like when we didn't have something, and they were also just like when they saw that like I could do like a little tiny bit, their hands were just flying and they were like, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't help you more, I don't like understand a lot, but like we helped like what we could and like tried to like write when we could, and they were just like super nice and like grateful that we were just trying.
Like I mean, those tend to be the best customers. Yeah. They tend to be the nicest ones that I will work with. So like I have no qualms working. It's usually the people like Karens that are the worst, honestly, because they'll have a fit. They know that if they complain to your company, they'll get whatever they want because they believe the customer is always right. And yeah, awful. It's just really awful. But I think that's where we can end this podcast. This is our first one. If you want to hear more of our struggles working in retail, let us know.
I used to work at an amusement park.
Yeah.
So if you want to hear I have some horror stories from there, if you want to hear those.
Or if you want to hear about when we worked at a haunted attraction, we can also talk about that because we worked there too and worked at the same haunt every day, so we got to work with each other. We always work with each other. Or if you want to hear about our relationship of working with each other, if we have any struggles or anything like that, like how we get the dynamic, so I know not all friendships can work So if you want to hear how we
Yeah.
make it work,
People always say that they're shocked by how well we
Yeah.
work together, so it's always been natural to us. So I don't
Yeah.
know what other people work like together. It's probably just our work ethics.
so if you want to ever hear about that too, you can let us know. We'll be happy to explain how we work behind the scenes, how we get along. We do fight. Our fight's passive aggressive, and we all.
It's not even like fight.
It's
fights.
not.
It's like disagreements.
It's just that's why I say passive aggressive.
Yeah.
But nothing that's ever stopped us from talking to each other. Even if we got mad at each other, we keep talking. We get over it because right at the same time that we're working.
It's like, God, I'm so annoyed with you right now. What are we doing tomorrow?
Yeah. If you've seen that GIF that goes, "Well, fuck you, and I'll see you tomorrow." There's some days like that too.
Well, I don't know what that's from.
I don't know what it's from too, but it's a GIF, and I'm pretty sure I sent it to you one day, and I was like.
Oh, you sent it to me.
So, but yeah, if you want to hear any of that, let us know. If you want to hear about Keen, we got quite a few stories from the college that we went to. We can also talk about that, especially because she was a transfer. So if any transfer students,
Yeah, if you want to hear about my
that?
transfer experience.
she'll be more than happy to walk you through and how to avoid the problems that she went through. I can talk about my struggles with that, with the school as well. But let us know if you have a topic, and
Yeah, or a topic you want advice on. I don't know
Yeah.
how we are with advice,
but we can try.
we can talk.
And our one podcast story that we want to do is ghost stories. So if you have any ghost stories, feel free
Ghost
to email
stories,
us.
spooky encounters.
Yes.
Just thinking like
Creepy things.
comment them, email us, send them us on social
DMs.
media, which are linked in our
Yes.
description.
Please feel free to share. You can also send us a voice memo, and your voice can be featured, and we can listen to it. Or you can write it down, and we'll read it out for you.
And if you do send us these things, let us know if you want to remain anonymous
Yes.
or not, or if you want us to say your first name, like this story came from.
Same.
That's
Anyways, thank
it for
you
this
for
one. So
our
this is-
first one.
Just another like a little addendum. So we know like this isn't quite a podcast because it's a video, but eventually as we get further down, start figuring it out, we're gonna figure out how to just create the audio files
Yep.
and upload. Let us know like what kind of things, like where you like to listen to your podcast. If you'd like it on like SoundCloud or
Yep.
Spotify, we'll try to figure out the best place to put it up.
Anyways, that's it for today. So thank you guys.
Thanks for watching and for listening.
Bye.